there everyone, this is Lilith and welcome to another YouTube live with me. Sorry, just adjusting my camera. So I hope you all well. It's Thursday, which means a new YouTube live, and I'm really happy to be here with you. I might keep it a bit shorter today just because I'm really tired. In the afternoon I worked in the garden and it was quite warm, and I think I stayed a bit too long in the sun and I've got a slight headache. So I'm going to work with you through a card. So I'm just going to wait for some of you to pop in. Come and wave hello in the comments section. I'm going to pull myself up on my tablet and then we can start creating. Yay, I can see myself. Okay, so I hope some of you are there. Oh, hi there, Cordelia. Good afternoon. It's evening over here, so everything is dark and I'll be going to bed afterwards. I hope the weather's nice where you are. We've been having exceptionally nice weather this month, which means I've been working in the garden when I haven't been teaching online. Hi there, Sue. Okay, people are starting to pop in, so welcome everyone. If you are new to our YouTube lives or our Facebook lives, if you share while the session is live, we will pick a lucky winner at the end of the show. is supposed to pop in and help me out with moderating, but I've already tried to put as many links up in or down in the comment section already. Oh, Cordelia, storms. Oh, we're going to have a bit of rain next week, which is going to be really good because it's really dry at the moment. We've had one of the driest months of March and April I think, nearly to an end. It's been really, really dry. So my plants that I've just planted need some water. Goedenavond, Veronique. Okay, so I'm going to show you the products I'm going to be using today. First, I wanted to go with a stencil, but then I've already been working on lots of stencil projects and I wasn't in the mood for stenciling today. So I thought I want to continue working a bit with the watercolors, but this time I'm going to change it up a bit. I've been doing a lot of no-line watercoloring, and I thought it'd be nice just to do something a bit different. Morning, Leith from Australia. So here I've got the two products I'm going to be using. So I've got the Statement Flowers, which is this lovely set. This is from our last release. You've got this wonderful big flower, and then you've got some tiny cute little sentiments, and I've also got the coordinating die because I will be cutting it out afterwards. Oh, Cordelia, you're usually working. I missed the live. Well, here we are. So I never miss lives. They're always like nighttime for me. So there we go. I've also got some embossing ink out and some I'm using the platinum embossing powder today, but you can do it with whatever you like. If you want to go with white or maybe some copper, whatever you want to do. And today, instead of using my watercolor pans, I'm going to be using the Altenew Watercolor brushes, and I usually go for pinks, but this time I thought I'd go for more orangey red tones. That's why I pulled out the Crimson, Autumn Blaze, Rouge, and Citrus Burst. I might just be mixing some colors as well. We'll just see how that goes. And then for the leaves of the flowers, I have popped out Lime, Moss, and Limeade. So there we go. I'm just going to have a look at the comments. Hi there, Glenda. Hi, Amy. Oh, also storming now. Hi, Stacy. Hi there, Lynn. Thank you for sharing, Veronique. So she shared on Facebook. So don't forget to share and leave a comment. That way we can pick you. So I think I've mentioned everything. Yes, I've got some watercolor paper and also some black cardstock. That's going to be my backdrop. and some watercolor paper, which you can see here. This is just the Altenew watercolor paper, the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch watercolor paper. I'm using this a lot now. Thank you, Lee, for sharing. Thanks, Stacy, for sharing. Okay, so I'm going to swivel you around. So I haven't got the setup for a double camera, so I do kind of the swivel switch screen thing. So here we go. This is going to be where I'm going to pop you down, and you will see my ceiling. Just for a minute until I get you kind of straight, and then I'll just pop. So I'm going to try and move you in, scoot you over. Oops. So I hope everything is it's not too blurry. Just have to go with this. Okay. So I'm just going to put my little pot with my container with my watercolor brushes to one side. I store them in a little container that can hang on my cart. So that's my go-to storage. So I've got my Misty tool out. Yes, it is a very big flower. It's a statement flower. That's hence the name. But it's going to be fun to work with, and it's perfect. Even though it's like a small stamp, it's also really nice to use on scrapbooking layouts. And oh, there's a hair in my... So I'm just going to pull out the stamp set, as you can see. So it is a very, very big flower. I've got my Misty tool out. There we go. Hi there, Sue. Ooh, we've got Sue, another Sue from South Carolina. I hope you all doing well in this eerie time. There we go. I'm going to pull this off. My son just popped in and said, "Hello, Mom, I love you." Isn't he sweet? Love you too, Elouan. So I'm just going to pop my flower onto my watercolor paper, and I'm using my little Misty tool just because I'm going to be embossing. So there we go. So here I'm going to be using Altenew clear embossing ink, and I've got a new ink pad, which means it is nice and juicy. Yeah, it's funny because he always imitates me when I do like videos, and he doesn't speak English. He only speaks French, and so he's really funny. So I'm just going to really ink this up nicely. And there we go. Oh, Driffer, no need to be sorry. There we go. So I'm going to stamp this really large flower onto the paper with my ink. Giving it a good press. Now this is clear ink, so it's a bit hard to see. There we go. Mine had a little bit of black on it, so that kind of transferred, but that's not a problem. That's not an issue because we're going to add embossing powder on there. I'm just going to pop my Misty tool to one side and just take a scrap piece of paper. Oh yes, my name. I know it's a bit. I was the firstborn, and they wanted an original name. And Lilith was the first wife of Adam in one of the Bibles, Syri Babylonian or something like that. And she kind of didn't want to follow the rules, so they kind of kicked her out. A very independent, strong woman. There we go. So as you can see, my image has got all the powder on there. So I'm just going to create a little funnel with the scrap piece of paper I've got here and just pop in all the platinum powder back in there. And usually what I do is, because it's scrap, I just fold it up. That way I don't get any nasty powder all over my workstation. Hi, Kelly. Oh, thank you for sharing. Oh, Driffer, you had late dinner. 6 degrees. Okay, I'm going to make you jealous. We had like, I was in the sun and it was like 23. Like in full-on sun. So now that I've got the powder on there, there's just a little bit on the side. I'm not going to worry about that too much because I'm going to be cutting it out. There we go. Hi, Cindy. There we go. So we're going to heat set this. I have got a new heat tool because I dropped mine 2 weeks ago and broke it. So I've got a new tool. I'm just going to put it on. It's going to make a bit of noise. I'm just going to let it heat up a little bit, and then we can start heating embossing. So I don't have Urim who's going to help me with the links. So I'll try and pop all the links in afterwards once I'm done, but I've already popped in the link to the stamp and die set. And then I've also popped in the links to the general link to the watercolor brushes that I've got here. And then this, I've just used the embossing ink. So you can just write it down, Altenew embossing ink and platinum embossing powder. And then you can go and have a little look on the Altenew, in the Altenew store if you're interested. Hi there, Carmen. Hi there, Terry. So let's just heat this up. Okay, I think I've got everything melted, and there we go. Here you can see the flower. It is such a beautiful thing. Oh, Driffer, I know. There we go. So I don't know if you noticed, but I did kind of also warm the back of the card. I usually start by doing this. This just helps the machine it gives the machine some time to warm up, and the powder does start melting a little bit. That way when you go over to the front, it will melt a lot quicker and you won't get all the embossing powder fly all over the place. Hi there, Xiomara. There we go. So I might just pop the set over there that you can see what it is. So it's statement flower. So I've got my embossed image ready. So you could also do this on black cardstock, and you can see how shiny that is. This one is the platinum. I think it's really pretty and really beautiful. Okay, now I love no line watercoloring, but no line watercoloring takes so much time and it's so precise, and this is just a quicker way of doing it. So I'm going to just zoom you in a little bit, and I'm going to start watercoloring my little flowers. So I'm going to try and put the colors in there. I'm also going to take an extra paintbrush, just if I want to pull water out, and I'm going to get a little bit of water in my bowl over here. Oh, around 15 degrees. But I'm usually like, when it's like 23, 24, I'm good to go outside without a jumper. Otherwise, I will wear a jumper, because I'm kind of the girl who wears a jumper until it's about 30. Must be my South African genes or something that happened when I grew up there. There we go. I love this stamp set too. It's beautiful. And just look how gorgeous that is, just on white. That is amazing. I love that. Okay, so we're going to start with this flower over here. Okay. And I've just got a normal, you can use the Altenew brush, watercolor brushes if you wanted to. I think I'm just going to go with my usual watercolor brushes because I'm just used to using those. So, but whatever watercolor brush will work. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water to the tip. I am going to prep just a little bit of kitchen roll paper here. There we go. Just so that I can dab off any excess. There we go. So now I'm just going to add water to my first petal, like so. I always start by adding water to the petal. Now, this is really easy because the ink is going to stay inside the lines, so that's going to make it so much easier to work with. So now I'm going to work directly from the brush, and I'm going to start with the crimson color. And I'm just going to start at the base. Oh, come on. Okay, this is a new one. So I'm just going to try and show you. I haven't got, well, usually when you get your watercolor brushes, you will get them with this little yellow ring. You won't be able to use them as long as this little yellow ring is on there. So you have to just screw your brush open, take it off and screw it back in. And here you can see the nib is still really clean. And all you're going to do is kind of just gently press, and you will see like the ink is going to start coming through there. And it's going to enter there, and you can see it's starting to, oh, so there I've got my ink starting to come through. Here we go. I'm just going to take a bit of scrap paper just to get the ink flowing. There we go. Okay, so that's the crimson color. It's a beautiful red color. So I'm just going to kind of drop that in there. And so, because I did a lot of explaining, the water is already dried from the paper, but that's okay. So I'm just going to add that beautiful color. There we go. I am going to go in with a bit of that Autumn Blaze. Kind of just drop that a bit in. Come on, color, need more color. Whoop, that's a lot. There we go. That came a lot. There we go. Get a bit more of that red in there. Okay. And now I'm just going to take my watercolor brush, just slightly damp, okay. I'm going to pull away a bit of that color. And now with the water, what I usually do is I just pull in water from the top. There we go. And then it's going to blend out into a lighter shade. And I love this watercolor paper. It's really nice. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to add a tad bit more red over here. There we go. it's flowing fast now. So because we have embossed the image, that's going to resist. And oh, so do I love these. And I mean, they are watercolors, but they are so different to like the pans. And if you're into mixed media and stuff like that, they are really, really good. There we go. Okay, so I've got my first petal done. Yes, this is Altenew watercolor paper. It is the, wait, I'm just going to try and pop it out. Do I have it here? I had it on my desk like when I was prepping, but I might have put it away. Yep, it's the Altenew. It's the small pack of watercolor paper. There we go. I only use that at the moment. So going to get on with my next little petal. So I'm going to go next to it. Usually this is not something I would do when I'm doing no line watercoloring. Okay, with no line watercoloring, you do not work on the petal next to it. But with this, it's going to be okay because there will be no bleeding because the embossing lines will prevent that. So once again, I've got my water in. I'm going to go in with my crimson. There we go. Just going to add the color in there. Nice and dark. There we go. I think I'm just going to be using the Autumn Blaze and the crimson. There we go. A bit of that Autumn Blaze just to get a bit more orange in there. Okay, and once again, I'm just going to kind of, with my wet brush, just pull that down and just get the water flowing all over. And if you've got too much color, just like dry your brush and you can kind of get all the excess off there. There we go. Just going to get a little bit more crimson in there. Oh, I thought that too, Sandria, but then I started practicing and watching lots of people do it, and then you kind of... And I think watercoloring like this is a lot easier than if you want to do like no waterline coloring. There we go. Hello. Hello, Vicky. Yeah, these colors are really amazing. I'm trying to stay away from the pinks because I always do pinks. So I think I was going, yep, let's do something more, a little bit different, something I don't do usually. There we go. Once again, I'm going in with the crimson over here. So this is kind of the petal which is behind. So you're going to have a shadow here where it meets the front one. So I'm going to do it really darker here and then fade it out all around. There we go. And lots of more color here. There we go. Just going to pop on a little bit more water. There we go. And going back in with the Autumn Blaze. Oops. The Autumn Blaze is really runny. So once again, just going to start at the top, and then if I pull that down, the water is going to just kind of do the rest of the blending. Go, a little bit more of that crimson. Yep, that's why I wanted to show you these watercolor pens as well. They are on sale at the moment, so you can get amazing deals if you are looking to get them. There we go. There we go. So that one is done as well. I might just pull a bit of that color over there. It's really soft. There we go. And we're going to do the next one. There we go. So I'm just popping a bit of water all over the petal. That way it's a lot easier to blend your colors. And once again, going in with the crimson, which is like the darker red. Once again, here on the bottom section, I'm going to go really for a more intense color because that's where kind of the petal disappears. So I'm really going to kind of layer the color on there. Ooh, there's a small fly. There we go. And now I'm going to go in with the Autumn Blaze, which is really runny. So I'm going to kind of dab it off a bit. Just want a little bit of that Autumn Blaze in there. And once again, I'm just going to take my paintbrush, wet it ever so slightly, then move from the top and then just kind of drag it to the bottom, and then the colors will mix. And if there's too much color on your brush, just like wipe it off and get a bit more water on there. Here we go. And it's really fun because no two petals are the same and the color variations differ a little bit, so it's really fun to do. And once these are kind of starting to dry, you can always go back in with the darker color and just intensify the parts that are a bit darker, so the shadow spots. So I'm going to go in for the last, oh no, this is the second to last petal on this flower. Small one over here. Kind of also goes inwards. Starting with that crimson. There we go. And I want a bit of that orange in there as well. Just kind of pulling that out. And once again, a little bit of water, not too much. Go. Okay, I'm just going to swivel this around. So I don't know if you can see this petal over here. I'm going to try and hold it up a bit. So let me just see. This petal over here, you've got this part which is going in, but the petal is kind of flipped. So this is the part underneath. So I'm going to do this like a bit darker over here, going a bit lighter and then darker over in the inside. So if kind of where the shadows are going to be, or the darker parts, because they're covered or pleated. So it's always a good thing to have a look at examples, or even at your layered stamps, and just see how they stamp. And that is going to help you also learn how to watercolor them and where to put your darker colors, your darker shades, etc. So that's usually how I do it. I kind of look at the examples from the layered flowers and just look at how those colors all layer on top of each other and how the colors work. And that really has helped me a lot with my watercoloring. Yes, I stamped it. This one, Vicky, it's the Statement Flowers set, which is here. So it's a very large stamp. It covers a card panel. So there we go. It is a statement flower. So I'm going to go in with the crimson here. So once again, dark, because this is kind of where the petal goes into the flower bud, I'm going to say. There we go. And then I'm going to kind of pop in a little bit of that orange as well. There we go. Autumn Blaze, it's called. I haven't used the rouge or the citrus burst yet. I might not use them, we'll just see. Maybe I'll do like a different shade for the flower beneath it. Pull it out a bit. Okay. And I'm going to do this part underneath. So I'm going to make that a bit darker. Oops, what color is that? Didn't want that. There we go. Got the water on there, and now I can add my color. I'm going to go with the crimson once again. So I'm kind of doing the crimson all over. And I'm going to add in a bit of that autumn blaze as well. So I'm going to kind of just go in over here, just intensify this color just a little bit. We'll just blend in there. There we go. Okay, so got my first petal done. Okay. And I'm going to start working on my second flower. Oh, you just have to kind of try it, because if you, it's kind of, I couldn't do this like a couple of months ago. I just took the leap of faith and just played around, watched lots of tutorials. There are some amazing colorists on our design teams like Aram and Lydia, so I just kind of watched them and listened to them, and then I just started playing around. It's kind of trial and error. So there you go. There we go. Just go and have a try. Okay, so we're going to work on our second bloom over here with its different petals, and we're going to do a little variation on this color, but we're going to try and mute it a little bit, making it a little softer. So I'm going to put the crimson to one side, and no, maybe I'm going to keep the crimson. I'm not going to use any orange, but I'm going to kind of mix it with the rouge and maybe a bit of that yellow, just to kind of make it a bit more peachy. Yep, that's a really good idea, Drifter, that just starting in one color and like adding shades of that, okay? And like where the base of the petal is, just darkening it a bit. And then once you feel comfortable with that, you can like go into other colors. So same idea. I always start at the base of the petal over here. Then we're going to kind of add the water and just put it all over our petal, like so. I'm just having a look at the time. Yep, we're going to be okay. And I'm going to go in ever so slightly, like I'm just going to follow these little lines. They're already a really good indicator where you can put your darker shades. So I'm going to go in with that crimson. Might darken that a little bit afterwards. Okay. And I'm going to add in a bit of rouge. This is one of my favorite colors. There we go. Got it a bit. So this is going to make it a bit more peachy. Kind of just putting the color in there. I'm just going to see how that looks with a teeny bit of citrus. Oh, that's really yellow. I'm going to use that one. I do want a little bit of yellow in there. Ooh, sun-kissed. I'm going to try the sun-kissed. I think that's going to be a lot better. Yep. Okay, that's like a bit of an orangey tint as well. Like a bit of an orange in there. There, yeah, that's better. Okay. And I'm going to go in a little bit more with the crimson, just to darken the base again. There we go. I'm very happy with those colors. They're very similar in hues, but just a tad lighter. So there we go. I'm going to kind of pull the colors out again, just with lots of water, getting a nice variation. Okay, going to go a little bit more crimson-y at the bottom. There we go. That's nice. Okay, like that. So we've got one petal done. Let's move on to our next one. Another good tip is that when you're doing your petals, it's kind of always, you can always move your paper around. I like coloring my petals when they are like really in front of me, and so I can work from the base to the top. That is my go-to thing. So I'm really turning my paper around a lot. There we go. So once again, just going to add the water on there. And I know I've been doing, I'm going to do a couple of petals at the same time. I don't know, just might be a bit quicker. Okay, I'm going to start once again with the crimson. Just kind of pulling it out, making it maybe a little bit darker at the base. I'm going to do the same over here. Could have added a bit more water. There we go. Rouge, which is a lot. It's got more of a pinky peachy tone to it, which is nice. And bring a bit of variation. There we go. And I'm just going to add a tad of Sun-Kissed, which is kind of brings that a little bit of orange in there. I'm just going to add a few, kind of mixing my own colors. And once again, just going to take my paintbrush, get some water on there, and then just add more water to the top, pull it down, and then just pull the colors out a bit. There we go. Such a pretty combination here. Really love how they look. Might add just a bit more rouge here to the top. Okay, so that one's done. I'm going to do the same with the bottom here. So what's nice about this color, this cardstock, Altenew watercolor paper, sorry, is that even when the paint is a bit dry, you can always like add water and the colors will come like, it's like you can move them around again, which is really nice. Means you can blend. The color doesn't just like seep into the paper straight away, which gives you a lot of wiggle room, and can like add water and just tone it down if you wanted to a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I've got 2 more petals done. Oh, you should have taken something with you to your cabin. There we go. So we're just going to continue working in the same way, like starting with our crimson, doing just a lighter variation of what we got above and making it a bit more peachy. There we go. I'm going to add a bit of that Sun-Kissed now here before I add some of that rouge, which is a stunning color. I really love this color. This is really pretty. Oops, that's a lot. Now I added a lot of rouge. Ooh. Okay, let's just take a bit of that off. There we go. Okay, let's just blend that out a bit now, because that was like a lot of rouge in one go. So the best way to take a water or color off some watercolor paper is just kind of dry your brush a bit and then just tap it on there, and then it will kind of pick up all the excess, and you can just dab it onto your little paper towel over there. Okay, got that one done as well. Let's go over to the next little petal. So once you've got like the hang of how you're going to color them and you're used to using your watercolor brushes, it can go really quickly. There we go. There we go. Here I've got like the petal, which is like peeking from the out from the other one, so I'm going to kind of darken those spots as well. Adding in my rouge. Please don't. Oops. I'm just going to add a bit of that sun-kissed in there just to make it a bit more orange. And once again, going to pull in some of that water from above. Kind of blend the colors together. There we go. So pretty. Okay, I'm going to kind of pull a bit of color away here because I want this part to be just a little bit lighter. Okay, and now I'm going to work on my last petal, and the last petal I just wanted to show you. I know I should be a bit more careful. Here you've got a petal, you've got like the petal that has been folded over, so I'm going to just darken those a little bit when I do that. Oh, Chris, I'll try and remove them to the side. Oh, I'm going to add some water to those little pleats as well. Yeah. Maybe I should just leave them off. There we go. That's the crimson. Once again, just going to add the crimson to the base. Adding a bit here as well. There we go. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Yeah, it's a great, that would be a great Christmas present, wouldn't it? Just going to add my rouge in once again. Just kind of blend that in a bit, not too much. Okay, I'm going to leave that open. Well, I'm going to be finished anyway, so I still have to do one more little part. There we go. A bit of sun-kissed. Just to add that little hint of orange. And here I forgot my little thing. I'm going to just pull the color out now. And a bit more crimson in the center. Yeah, that's me. Look at that. Thinking there is a lid on it. There we go. Oh God. Okay, so I've got gardener / craft hands now. So I'm just going to add the crimson here. Once again, I'm just going to add a darker shade to this, going in over here because those are the parts. And then I'm just going to kind of darken this a little bit over here and here as well. And here, just want it a little bit darker. There we go. That's good. I'm going to close my crimson now. The watercolor set. Oh, these are the watercolor brush markers. I think I'm using different sets together. So, I would not be able to give you a set. What I would advise you to do is go and have a look at the different sets and kind of look at the colors and pick the sets where you have the colors, the most colors that you like in them. So there we go. It's okay, Chris. I could have had a blob of color all over my page, but it's okay. We're going to start working on our greens and then we can finish our card. So it's the same kind of process. I'm going to be using lime, probably just lime and moss. I'm not going to use the 3 colors. I'm going to start with my flower over here. My leaf. Okay, I'm getting tired. So I'm going to go in with the lime, which is this really vibrant color. It's really pretty. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of moss, which is a bit darker. I'm just going to put that at the bottom. And I'm just going to blend that in with the rest, kind of mix them up both. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of darken the base here just a little bit with the moss. And just, ooh, that's a lot of moss. So you have to be really careful. Sometimes there is a lot of color that comes out of there. But you can see you can easily just pick it up with your paintbrush and just kind of blend the color out a bit. Just to soften that a bit. So there we go. Softened it. I really like how that looks. Pretty, isn't it? So going to go in with my next leaf. It's funny because I always thought that the petals of the flowers would be the hardest bit, but I have such a hard time coloring leaves. I'm still learning. And I was so happy today because Jay-Z, he's on our card design team member, he's on our card design team. He left me a comment on one of my cards where I did no line watercoloring, and I was going, one of the masters said I had a nice card. I was so happy. There we go, just adding a bit of that green. Hello. Okay, going in again with the moss. Just going to kind of just add that a bit at the base here. Okay, and now let's just blend it out. Okay, so I'm just going to work my way from just blending those colors. There we go. Ooh, that's pretty. I love that. I love those colors together. And with that platinum embossing ink. So let's go over to our next little leaf over here. So here we've got a tiny leaf peeking out, and then we've got a leaf here which is kind of with a third leaf which is folded over. So we're going to do like more darkish here with a dark center over there, and then lighten it up a bit. So it's kind of tricky, all these folded little leaves and stuff. There we go. Let's go in with our lime. Might just keep them open now. I might be working with them. There we go, lime. Gonna pop them over there, and moss. Just darken it over there. There we go. Okay. I don't know if you have seen it, but we have like creativity kits. It's like a whole kit with a stamp, and you get a stamp and lots of lovely products. And we also have classes with them on Zoom. So if you go and have a look at those, I did my first one on Tuesday and it was really fun. And you craft along with me and we chat. So if you're interested in that, you can always go and have a little look at that. So let's go in with this like kind of twisted flower. Yep. No, ooh, Cindy, I don't really. I kind of switch between them, but I do like. I do use a lot of white, and yeah, the platinum. I don't know. I like the platinum. It's like it's a little. It's not cooler. The others are sometimes just maybe too yellowish. Don't know if I could say it like that. So I don't like it. I like this kind of color. But when I'm doing this style, I usually go for the platinum. That's just kind of the color I really like. There we go. So now it looks like nothing. You kind of have to blend it in. And actually when I'm blending, I'm kind of pulling the color off and just waiting until, there we go. I'll add a bit more dark here. And now I'm going to do the next part. I know, Chris, it's such fun. I'm even taking a class on like freehand watercoloring. Just, I think it's because it's so relaxing and I really have to concentrate, so my anxious mind kind of switches off, which I think is really necessary at the moment, because the beginning of this whole lockdown thing, I was super anxious and I had like headaches and migraines that were coming back, and I still have stomach aches, so still working on that. But this is helping a lot. Okay, got that leaf done. Now we're going to work on our next one. And I must say, even when I'm taking my classes, like my watercoloring classes or watching people watercolor, I find it really relaxing and something I really, really enjoy. Cindy, do I have a rule? I don't know. Usually when I go with like the really bright funky colors, like with teals and my go-to pinks and things like that, probably I would go for whites and maybe a white, and even the platinum I like for that. If I'm going for like more traditional, like what would I call more traditional colors, but maybe with like a really more traditional color palette, I might go with like a more gold color. I think it just depends on the style I'm doing. The colors I haven't used a lot, the embossing powders from Altenew, are like the blue and the green. Those are not colors I usually emboss with, so the others I have been. Thank you. Yes, these colors are really nice. They're looking really nice together. I like the mix of the lime and the moss. Okay, we're nearly done. 2 leaves to go, 3 leaves to go. Okay, let's just try and do 2 at the same time, and then we can leave them to dry, cut them out, get our sentiment on there. There we go. Come on. That lovely color. Here we go. Thank you for sharing, Ruby. Yes, if you've just joined and you haven't shared yet, you can still share, and I'll pick a lucky winner at the end of this session. I think Urim should be here to help me, but she isn't. I'll pop back in later once this is uploaded and share the winner. There we go. I'm just going to water this down a bit. Shouldn't have colored that in. That's not a leaf. Let's try and get that off. Oh, it might cut. I don't think it will cut out. I'm going to try and lighten this as much as possible, just with some water. That I shouldn't have done. I'm starting to become tired. Okay, let's just darken this around here. Might not notice it. Might pop the sentiment over there. There we go. Yeah, Drift, it's a leaf now. Thank you for sharing. Okay, let's kind of blend this out again. And one thing I have noticed with watercoloring is that there are certain techniques that I love using, and then some of the others I just kind of make a variant of them. So it's also trying things out for you and finding something that works for you. There we go. I'm just going to darken that a bit. Okay, I think I'm done. I just have to do the center here in the middle, and that I'm going to try and do with maybe some yellow. I'm going to go in with fresh lemon in the center here. So there we go. Just going to go just with the fresh lemon here. I'm just going to add fresh lemon all over the place, and I might just darken the center a little bit and just like with a bit of autumn blaze. So here I'm just going straight in with that color. There we go. So I'm going to take a bit of the autumn blaze, which is, no, that's crimson. Oh, here's the autumn blaze. I'm just going to maybe just darken that center a little bit, just to kind of, there we go. Okay, so my flower is ready. It's almost dry. I'm just going to leave it 2 seconds to dry. I'm just going to close my little pens over here. I want to leave them open. There we go. So I'm going to pop those away. When you're storing these, I would advise you to store them upright like so. I'm going to just zoom you out again. There we go. So that's the finished flower, or flower arrangement. Okay. I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So to do this, I need a bit of paper, and I can't find paper. I must have some somewhere. I just need a little strip anyway, because I'm going to cut it down. There we go. So I'm going to be using Label Love, and we've got it in different languages. I'm going to be using the French one, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment avec tout mon amour. Avec tout mon amour. That means with all my love. There we go. So I'm probably just going to use my little misty tool. Oh, I just dropped a card on the floor. Okay, I'm gonna pull this one off. I'm just gonna pop my little strip on there and a little magnet. Okay, I haven't used this one yet, so I'm gonna kind of prep it with my eraser. And then I'm just going to kind of wipe off all those little eraser little bits. There we go. And I'm just going to pop it on there. Okay. Pop it down. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to ink up my stamp. My other son just popped in.
Good morning.
It's good evening. He's funny. Okay. So once again, I'm going to ink it up with the clear embossing ink. Mine is nice and juicy. And there we go. Pop it down. Okay, so now that I've got that stamped, I'm just going to add my embossing powder to that. So I might just unfold my piece of scrap paper and just pour the platinum back on there. Okay, I'm going to kind of just tap it off. Ooh, that's going to be a bit, this one with embossing is sometimes a bit difficult. Oh, I might just do something different with that, because I think because it's such a full stamp with a fine type font, this might not work. I have done it, but oh, that's my heat gun, which nearly fell on the floor. So as you can see here, it's the embossing powder is kind of, I think it's because my ink pad, my clear ink is a bit too wet. My sons, how old are they? 16, 16, 13, and 10. There we go. So I'm going to just go with black. I think it's going to be better if I just stamp it in black. So let's just do that again. I'm going to stamp it in black. Okay. There we go. The black, it's going to be a lot better. Ooh, that's nice, like that. Okay, just going to take my chamois and clean my little stamp. So for the black ink, I use the Obsidian, which is a nice dark colored ink. So now that I've got that, I'm going to cut this out just by hand. I am going to leave a little white border around it. Yes, and I just use my scissors. There we go. Okay. And we still have to cut out our flower. That's going to go really quickly. I've got my dark cardstock ready. Let's just cut out the flower now, and then our card will be done. I think I'm happy that I chose to do the black for the sentiment. It's going to work really well with our dark cardstock. So I'm going to just pop that on there. There we go. And I'm going to take my die cut machine. There we go. And I'm just going to cut the flower out. There we go. No, this one doesn't fit in the mini blossom, Tifa. I'm so sorry. It's a bit too large. It fits an A4, what am I saying? 4 1/4, 5 1/2 card. So it's just a little bit too big. There we go. So I'm just going to glue this down. Like so on that backdrop. And then I'm just going to pop my little sentiment onto some foam dots, my beloved foam dots. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to kind of pop it over that little leaf that I kind of messed up. I like it there. So there we go. That is our card for today. So I'm going to pop you back up. And so once again, you're going to get familiar with the ceiling while I swivel you back here. And now I'm going to move you around. Whoops-a-daisy. There we go. Okay, good. That sentiment isn't really straight. Okay, so there we have it. Going to put my hair to one side because I don't like it having on the other side. So this is the card for today. As you can see, we're watercolored with the watercolor brush markers and using embossing powder and ink. And it's nice and shiny and got lots of variations in the colors, and it's so relaxing to do. And it seems a bit daunting in the beginning, but go have a try because it's really fun to do. And I love putting it on some black, oh come on, stick down, oh, there we go, black cardstock. It just makes that flower pop off the page. There we go. So for this I used the I have popped it over here. There we go. I still have to put my my stamp back on there. But I used the Statement Flowers stamp set, which you can see here, in combination with some embossing ink, platinum embossing powder, the Label Love stamp set for the sentiment. I use the French edition, but go and have a look on the Altenew website because you will see there are lots of different languages on there. You might find your language in there as well too. So there you have it. That was today's YouTube Live. I hope you enjoyed this little coloring session with me. I enjoyed myself immensely. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's really vibrant and colorful and really happy. And I really had a lot of fun crafting and creating this. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you a million for sharing. I will pick a lucky winner at the end of this session. So in about 5 minutes, I will announce the winner. So there you go. I hope to see you very soon. Have a lovely day wherever you are, a lovely evening. And I'm going to switch this off and then hop off to bed. See you soon. Bye.